Shakespeare is shit. I don't like this man. I'm not a fan. Hello everyone and welcome to a new video here in my channel. I hope you are doing well. I hope you can see me and hear me correctly because I'm using a new camera and a new mic, and I don't know if you can, if you can hear me or see me correctly. I hope you do. If you are new, hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Bra. I'm very happy to see you here. Welcome. And if you are not new and you already know me, hi and welcome back to a new video. For today, I have the long-awaited Shakespeare dissection video. In this video, I'm going to be telling you absolutely everything I know about every single work that Shakespeare wrote when he was alive. So I spent the past year, around a year, reading this book. This is a complete work of Shakespeare. This was my grandma's. It's a very precious copy for me. And after this entire year, I have compiled what the books are about, what my opinion was, and my rating. And in this video, I'm going to be going through every single book in the order I read them, and I'm going to tell you the synopsis, what I thought, and my rating in that order of every single one. Every single dramatical play and every single lyrical work. I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm going to be yapping for a while, so I hope you're excited to see this video. It's been very long waited. I've been talking about this for quite a bit now, but I'm finally here doing it. I finally finished. Funny enough, my goal was to do this, like to finish this, not to film this video, but to finish all the books before graduation. And I graduate today when I'm filming this. This afternoon I'll be graduating. So I am very happy that I have accomplished this, and I'm so proud of myself. So let's begin with this video. Just so you know, I have my tablet here with me. I can actually use my phone, but I have all the notes on my tablet, so I'll be maybe looking down because I have all my information down here. So let me go through it right now. Let's start with the dramatical play, with play number 1, and finish with the sonnets, because that is, the last and the first thing that appears on the book. And, I'm just going to go through everything. Hopefully you enjoy this video. Please like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications so you know when I post a brand new video. And let's begin with the video. Let's begin with this dissection. And I want to begin by saying that Shakespeare is shit. I'm so sorry, I hate him. You're gonna see how most of these books I will not remember my actual opinion because I was bored. I didn't like it. Like, I don't like this man. I'm not a fan. Before I read him, I knew I wasn't a fan, and now that I have read everything, I still know I'm not a fan of this man. There are certain plays that I like, and I love the lyrical poems because I really like poetry, but even with that, like, the exceptions, I don't like him. I think he should go to jail. I think, well, not to jail because he's dead, but like, you know what I mean? Like, he should go to God. Like, he all his works, I'll go to the bin, please. I don't like him. I don't like him. I'm not a fan, and you're gonna see now how much I hate him. Like, I actually have hate towards him, which is quite funny because after reading this, I feel like we're besties now, because I've read everything. I'm like, I know him quite well now. I still don't like him, and it's just terrible. So let's begin. Let me start telling you so you can see how I don't like him. To begin with, the first play that I want to talk about is Love, Slavery, Lost. And this one is basically a comedy that centers on 4 young men who fall in love against their wills. From the men, one of them is the King of Navarre, who pledges to study for 3 years, avoiding all contact with women. And then the Princess of France arrive to Spain to do a little visit, and the king is like, oh, they're women. Oh my god, wait. Oh my god, wait. Oh my god, wait. And then the men start falling in love with the women. So it's kind of funny how they go, oh my god, we're not going to talk to women, we're going to focus on our studies. And then first woman comes around and they're like, oh my god, we need to do something with this, which is quite funny. And then we have Armado, who is a Spanish soldier who falls in love with a girl who's a servant. And then, some stuff happens. Some stuff happens between them. I don't want to give much away just in case any of you want to read any of this plays. But actually, this one wasn't terrible. Like, this one isn't terrible. I actually had to study briefly this one in one of my modules this year, which was quite funny. Like I got to the play and I'm like, oh wait, I've read this. It was at first I was like, oh my god, I read it, and then I was like, wait, I have read it. Oh my god. But basically, yeah, the men end up confessing their love for the women, and for the pageant lady and for everyone. Like they tell the women that they like them, and they are like, how can I explain to you this? There's no way we can get together. Which is kind of sad, but no, yeah. I did enjoy parts of it, of this one. My rating was 3.5, pretty mid. I also wanted to, because it was the first one, I was like, wait, I'm gonna give it 3.5, a pretty mid rating, just in case any book is actually decent, I can give it a high rating. One was 3.5, and the next one that I read was The Two Gentlemen of Verona. And this one I really like. I remember it was so fun. So basically, The Two Gentlemen of Verona is about two gentlemen from Verona. They are friends. They're called Valentine and Proteus, I think is how you say it. And basically, Valentine leaves the home city. He goes to Milan, and his friend Proteus stays behind. And the thing is, they are in love with the same woman. Okay, there's this woman called Julia, and both are in love with the same woman. At one point, Proteus pledges his love, like tells his love to Julia, and then in Milan, Valentine and the Duke's daughter Sylvia become being in love. But the thing is, he's still a bit in love with Julia, so it's a bit like, oh my god, we have this kind of situation here. What's going on? What's gonna happen? What are we going to do? And then Proteus decides, oh, let me go to Milan because Julia is like, you know what, we can't do this. And then he goes to Milan and he falls in love with Sylvia, who is the girl that, the friend who went to Milan, who's Valentine, is in love with. Like, there's a lot of drama, romantic, like triangle situation thing. And this one I did really enjoy. Like, I do remember how much I enjoyed this. I was very entertained by it. I don't know if it was the drama or the love or what it was, but I was very entertained by it. And I rated it 3.75. Like, I did really enjoy it. The third play that I read was The Comedy of Errors. So the plot, what the book is about, is basically set on Ephesus, and basically is a partial misadventure story of two sets of identical twins. I didn't even know there were two identical twins. And basically, many years earlier, the Syracusan merchant Egan had two twin sons, the main characters, and at their birth he bought a new pair of newborn twins, and these newborn pair of twins are the servants of the two original twins, if that makes sense. And basically the original son becomes very important in Syracuse, and the servant is kind of like trying there to get to a higher level, because when you are a servant in before, back in the 18th century, 15th century, and all of this back time, you had to try and get a higher in a higher position to go, to go up in rank, if that makes sense. And basically at one point at the end, the four twins come together, and all the problems that they had is resolved, and the parents of the four of them reunite because they didn't really get along at the beginning. It's a whole situation. I didn't like it. It was a 2-star for me. The error here was the fact that I had to read it. My error was actually reading the book more than, it was just, I didn't like it. I didn't even know there were two pairs of twins. I wasn't it. That was no, for me. I'm so sorry, but no. Then we get to one of the most important, probably one of the most famous novels from this man, and it is The Tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. And I said this when I read it for the first time. I said it the second time I read it. I don't like Romeo and Juliet. I understand why the book is important. I understand why it's famous. I understand it. I get it. It's not for me. I cannot do with that much drama. I don't mind a bit of drama, a bit of here and there. This book was too much. I'm sorry, I don't think I have to give you explanation of what the plot is about. There are two families, okay? They hate each other. There is the Capulet and the Montagne, okay? Romeo is from the Montagne, Juliet is from the Capulet. They hate each other. They do not get along. But these two people, the main characters, Romeo and Juliet, fall in love, okay? They fall in love even though their families hate each other. And oh, what a surprise, they both die. The point of Shakespeare is that most of the plays that he writes, there's a lot of death and someone ends up dead. In this play, both end up dead. Okay, so Romeo, is it Romeo or Juliet? I don't know right now which of the two is supposed to be dead at some point. One of them pretends to be dead, and the other one believes that they're dead, so they kill each other, they kill themselves, and then the one who was supposed to be dead finds out that the other one has killed themselves, and they kill themselves as well, so they both end up dead. That's the point of Romeo and Juliet. That is too dramatic for me. I'm not a fan. It was too star. I do not like Romeo and Juliet. And I remember the first time I read it, it was for a class in like universal literature, I think it was. I had to read it, and I started the book. I was like, Mom, I'm not liking this. And Mom was like, oh wait, continue, tell me when you finish. I continued, like, Mom, I'm not liking this. And then I finished, and I was like, Mom, I didn't like it. I knew I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. Not for me. Next, we have King John. King John is the first book of the historical plays, and you're going to see a bit of a theme here of me not liking the historical plays. I love history. I'm a history nerd, but it's just this history like is not for me. King John, right, dies because a monk poisons him at one point, and then his son has to become the king, and that is Henry III. Okay, and it's just a lot of just historical stuff. Like, there's a lot of history related to it, and because I do like history, it was not terrible, but still I didn't like it. It was a 275 for me. That was like, oh god, it's weird as hell. Next play, Richard II. This man, oh my god, this man. This story, okay, begins with the cousin of Richard, Henry, who charges Thomas Mowbray with serious crimes, including the murder of the Duke of Gloucester, and the father of him, John of Gaunt, who I do know because he married one of the Lancaster sisters, John of Gaunt, blames the king for Gloucester's death. And by Richard's command, Bolingbroke and Mowbray prepare a trial to see, you know, what happened and to try and figure out who killed who. And then John of Gaunt dies, and Richard gets all the possessions, and you know, starts trying to help Ireland with the finances and try to figure out how to, you know, connect the two countries, Ireland and England. And oh well, another murder happens, another plot of murder happens against the king. I enjoyed this one. It was not terrible. It was a 3.5. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. And after these ones, there are the two parts of Henry IV. Henry IV has two plays for himself. His life was apparently so important. Shakespeare had to write two plays for him. It's divided in two plays because apparently it's quite big. So basically, Henry IV in the first part, and there's the Battle of Shrewsbury, I think, is how you say it. And basically, there's a dispute between the son of Northumberland and himself and Mortimer, and a bunch of like war and things like that. And you know, the war develops and people start hating each other, things like that. And then in the second part, the story continues. The Northumberland guy learns that the son is dead, and then tries to, you know, rebel because he can't believe the son is dead, so he has to mourn in some way, I guess. And the rebels are led by the Archbishop of York and the Lords of Mowbray and Hastings. Hastings is the war that is like from the place, like the Battle of Hastings in 1066. That guy, and then the King of York at the time. Yeah. And when the rebellion ends, Prince Hal attends the father's like funeral, yeah, and becomes Henry V, who, oh my god, is the next play. What a surprise. The book was alright. I gave the first part 3.75 and the second part 3 stars, and it was just nice. I like a bit of drama. I like war. Like, I don't like war. Oh my god, that's terrible. Please don't clip that. I don't like war, but I like learning about wars, and this book has a lot of the War of the Roses and the York and the Lancaster like battles. Like, I like learning about wars. And I was surprised, the next book, what I said, Henry V. Henry V begins at the English court, where the young king is persuaded and he has to claim the throne of France. When the French Dauphin and the apparent insults to him are sent to Henry, he starts starts his expedition in France. Before departing, Henry learns that 3 of his nobles have betrayed him and orders their execution, while an old urban companions grieve for John Falstaff's death, and then they leave to France. Henry and the army siege to France, and then they end up surrendering. The Prince of France has to learn English because she's supposed to marry Henry V. And well, at the end, Henry comes back from France, claims his rights as a king, and Prince Catherine, the girl from France, marrying him. And yeah, and this one I did really enjoy. It was a 4-star. I read it at uni at some point apparently, and I do have a copy of it from when I read from uni, and it was quite nice. I don't remember everything, but I did enjoy reading it both times, now in Spanish and when I read for university in English, so that was alright. After that, we have Henry VI. And this man has not one, not two, but 3 plates. He has 3 plays for himself. What did he have to say that is so important to have 3 plays? I don't know, but it is what it is. Basically, this man, in the first part, depicts the collapse of England's role in France as the English nobles fight against each other instead of the French trying to win and trying to, you know, get with Joan of Arc, who happens to be from Pucela, and it's very funny. I really like the fact that that woman, like for the entire book, his name is La Pucelana, which is literally the name, like the nickname for the people that are from my city, which is so funny. But no, yeah, basically that is kind of what happens. The first part has a lot of Joan of Arc situation, which is quite nice. Then book 2, okay, has basically the Civil War. There's a civil war happening, and you know that's basically what it's about. Henry meets with a new bride, Margaret, who has been married before, and you know he's quite powerful because he has a lot of like land and things like that. And then part 3 is when the Duke of York appears and allies with Warwick. Reading these books were quite nice because at some points I was like, oh wait, I've been here. Oh my God. Like there were places mentioned that I've been on or that I've visited or I've been nearby or that I've known of. And it's quite nice to see, oh my God, wait, I've been here. Oh my God, I've seen this. Oh my God, I know this. And that was quite nice of all the historical plays mainly. And basically in the 3rd book, the Queen Margaret raises an army. So the woman that marries Henry VI raises an army, breaks the oath to Henry and fights for the crown. So basically she wants the power. She wants the power. She wants the power for herself. And she ends up, you know, getting supporters in York. So Edward becomes who is the son, becomes Edward IV. And Henry gets captured. And I don't remember much else. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It was quite long. The fact that there's 3 parts. The last one I was like, I just want to be done with it. But it was quite nice. I really liked the whole Pucela situation, like Joan of Arc situation. The ratings are first part 3 stars, second part 3.5, third part 3 stars. So overall, I would say 3.5, I think. And then we get to Richard III. And basically the story starts with Richard being the Duke of Gloucester and the brother Edward IV being the king. So Richard is eager to clear his way to the crown and manipulates Edward into imprisoning his brother. Clarence, the brother, is murdered. He is murdered in the Tower, while Richard succeeds in marrying Lady Anne, who, by the way, killed the husband. And then basically he ends up allying with Edward, who dies, and then the older 2 sons are the next in line for the throne, and Richard tries to make a house for them in the palace and stuff like that. The Tudors start happening. Henry Tudor appears, and you know, there's the wars and defeats and more killing. There's a lot of killing in all of this place. This one was alright. It was quite boring at some point, so yeah, I rated it 2 stars. And then, guys, we get to Henry VIII. Let me just say, this man had the opportunity of the lifetime. He had the opportunity to write about all the drama and all the like love stories of this man with all the wives, because he was a woman something, like it's insane. He decided not to do that and focus on the historical, more like, you know, more political side of the lifestyle of this man, and not the woman side and the dramatic and love relationships. And he had the opportunity and didn't take it. I think he was just scared of being famous, and he's still famous, but you know what I mean, like he had the opportunity and lost it. And I didn't like this book just because of that. But basically the story is Henry VIII being, you know, a powerful advisor and wanting to divorce Catherine because he wanted to marry Anne Boleyn. So we know the story. If you've seen the musical 6, you know what happens. No, yeah, it's basically how he tries to, you know, divorce Catherine, and how he breaks, you know, the pact with with Rome and with the Pope, and how he becomes the head of church and becomes Protestantism starts. Like it's all that story while he tries to, you know, marry Anne Boleyn, and at some point, you know, the whole situation with the daughters comes up, like Elizabeth and Mary Tudor, like all of that happens, and it was just, he had the opportunity of a lifetime and didn't take it, and that's why I'm not a fan of it. Like, he was scared of fame, and yeah, like, it was a 3.5. It wasn't bad, it's just he had the opportunity and didn't take it, which is quite, I don't know what the word is. Next, we have Titus Andronicus. Oh my lord, this one was a nice one. Overflows with taste and violence, the story. 21 sons of the Roman general Titus Andronicus have died in battle, leaving 4 of them alive. After defeating the Goths and Titus permitting the sacrifice of the oldest son, the queen Tamora, you know, appears. And basically he helps Suetonius become emperor, who plans to marry the daughter of Titus, Latvina. And the thing is, she marries Basinius. She's in love with him, but it doesn't go well, let's say that. And yeah, one of the sons is killed, and then Titus ends up marrying Tamora, and at one point there's a lot of revenge plots, and Tamora's lover, Aaron of Moor, instructs us, like, kills the sons of Basinius. Like, there's a lot of killing and a lot of, like, women marrying other people, like Rome and Greece. It's just a whole thing, you know what I mean? It was nice. I really liked it. It was a 4-star. It was dramatic, but the nice point of drama, like, it's not like too dramatic like Romeo and Juliet, or too little like it's boring. Like, it's a nice point of drama, and it was nice. It was okay. I really enjoyed it. 4 stars, nice. A Midsummer Night's Dream. And this one I also really enjoyed. I actually watched this, like, I saw a play on YouTube of this novel as well, so let me say that one is also very good. I really like this one. So this one is about the residents of Athens mixing with the fairies of the local forest with comedic results. So it has a lot of, like, fantasy cottagecore vibes. And basically in the city, Theseus, the Duke of Athens, is to marry Hippothyllia, the queen of the Amazons. And the bottom of the waiver is the friends rehearse for in the books a play to, you know, to give in the celebration of the wedding. Basically, Lysander and Demetrius are in love with Hermia, but she loves Lysander, and the friend Helena loves Demetrius. But Hermia's father, Aegeus, commands Hermia to marry Demetrius, and Theseus supports the father's right. And all 4 end up in the woods where Robin of Woodfellow serves the fairy king Ebron and put the flower juice on the eyes of Lysander, and then Demetrius intentionally caused both of the women love Helena. That whole romantic quadruple situation, insane. But no, yeah, it was really nice. I really liked it. I love the cottagecore, the fantasy, the fairies. Like, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, that was a good one. That was 4 stars. Really like it. Next, we have All's Well That Ends Well. And basically, this is a woman given in marriage to a man that she longs for, but because she's low in the lower rank, like she doesn't have money, he refuses to accept the marriage, and it becomes her challenge to win his acceptance. So basically, she just wants him to love her so she can marry and get money because she's basically poor. It was surprising. I was expecting more from the title, I guess, and it was 2.75. I wasn't a huge fan, but it was not that terrible. Like, it's close to a 3. It's not that terrible, but, you know, it could have been better. Then we have The Taming of the Shrew. This one is basically the story of the induction of a nobleman that plays a trick on a beggar, treating Sly as he and the nobleman lost their memory. I thought it was boring. It was a 2.5. It was boring. I wasn't fully in love with it, but it is what it is, I guess. It is what it is. Next one, The Merchant of Venice. Oh my lord, The Merchant of Venice. I did like this one, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a 4-star. It was quite nice. Basically, the story is about Antonio, the merchant of Venice. His name is Antonio, and he secures a loan from Shylock of his friend Bassanio, who seeks to court Portia. So basically, Bassanio is in love with Portia, and Antonio is trying to help Bassanio. And basically, Shylock is a Jewish money leader who recalls the past and insults Antonio and tries to get Antonio's money because he wants a loan. And basically, there's a whole loan that is not repaid, and how, you know, that is how that's going down between the people. And that one I really enjoyed. It was quite good, surprisingly good actually. It was a 4 stars, as I said. It was nice. Next one is The Merry Wives of Windsor. And I was expecting more because I know what Windsor is. A friend of mine is actually from there. I have not been there yet. I have to go visit, and I was expecting more just because of that, because I was like, what can go wrong? No, for me, it was a 3-star, but like it could be a 2, to be honest. And basically, the story is about the respectable John of Falstaff, who pursues 2 housewives, and the Mistress Ford and Mistress Page, that are the wives, outwit and humiliate the man, the guy who's trying to marry them, because they are not interested. And there are the 3 suitors who are trying to get the hand of Anne Page, who's the mistress of the daughter. Like there's a lot of wives and men and anger, and it's just, yeah, I was expecting more. Maybe if it wasn't in Windsor and if it was somewhere else, I might have enjoyed it more. I don't know, but it's what it is. The next one is Much Ado About Nothing. I was expecting a lot from this one because it is one of my aunt's favorite plays from Shakespeare, and she doesn't really like Shakespeare, so I was expecting more. So this one turns on the courtship and scandal involving young hero and the suitor Claudio, and the witty war of words between Claudio's friend Benedict and Beatrice, who happens to be, the center in the stage and be like the important people. It is set in Messina, and the play begins with Don Pedro's army returning from victory. Benedict, a gentleman soldier, resumes a verbal duel with Beatrice and the needs of Messina's governor Leonato. Count Claudio is smitten by Leonardo's daughter Hero after Don Pedro woos her in disguise for Claudio, and the 2 lovers end up planning to marry in a week, but that doesn't really happen because there's time to fill in, and that's when they find out that they are not in love with each other, but they like other people. It's a whole situation. It didn't deliver properly. It was 3.75, but to be honest, again, could have been 3, could have been a bit lower. But it could be better. There's some parts that are decent, some parts that I did mark on the book, like there are sections that are marked that were quite nice, but still not a huge fan. If it's below a 4, I'm not a fan of it. Then we have As You Like It. A romance that plays out in dispute between 2 divided brothers. Orlando is the older brother, and Oliver is the younger, and is treated badly and refuses to get the inheritance. Like, he doesn't get the inheritance, Oliver, and is trying to get inheritance from the father's estate, but doesn't really get it. And basically, there's 2 women who, the father of one of them dies, and then they are basically best friends. I actually think they are in love with each other, but that's just me wanted people to be gay in back in the 15th, 16th century. But no, yeah. Orlando ends up falling in love with Rosalind. She is banished by her uncle. They 2 women leave, and Orlando's trying to find them. There's this whole adventure point of the story, and it's all about friendship more than love. Yeah, love is important, but it's very about friendship, this novel. And it was alright. There's an HBO movie on it that has a lot of Japanese vibes to it, and I don't know why, but it wasn't terrible. The play is 3-star. It was alright, it was nice, but I mean, if you have to ask me for a character name of Orlando that I like, Virginia Woolf Orlando's. That is my Orlando, not this one. The next one is 12th Night. And this one is an allusion to the night of festivity preceding the Christian celebration of the Epiphany, and combines love, confusion, mistaken identity, and joyful discovery. After the twins Sebastian and Viola survive a shipwreck, one knows the other is alive. Viola goes into service with the Count Orsino of Illyria, disgusted by young man Cesario. Orsino tempts Cesario for who the Lady Olivia on his behalf, but Olivia is in love with Cesario. And Viola, in the meantime, has fallen in love with Orsino. So you can tell the situation just by that. I think you can tell what can happen. I don't remember much, but yeah, I apparently wasn't a fan because I have a 2-star. I'd rather be oblivious to everything than remember everything. I'm sorry, but no. Next one, Julius Caesar. Caesar's assassination is just the halfway point of Julius Caesar, so he dies in the middle of the book, but it's more things important to that. So before he dies, the part that leads to his death begins with him preparing a triumphal entrance, and Brutus, being his friend and ally, he wanted to become the king, destroying the republic and destroying Julius Caesar. And Caesar plans to stay at home with his wife, but he's assassinated because there's a conspirator who's Decius Brutus persuades him to leave and go to the Senate, and that's where he dies, I think. And then Anthony uses the funeral to turn the citizens of Rome against him, and then Brutus and Cassius escape Anthony and joins forces with Octavius Caesar, who's the next in line, I think. But no, yeah, there's a lot of persuasion and a lot of death and killing, and it's Rome, it's Julius Caesar. I really enjoyed it, it was fun, it was a 4-star. It was quite nice, that one. And then we have Hamlet. I read this on a reading vlog, actually. I will leave it linked. I read it on a reading vlog because I wanted to read this book so I could read Hamnet, so I could watch the movie. So I have that on my channel. I will leave it linked. It was a nice one. I really enjoyed it. So basically, before Hamlet starts, right, the king of Denmark dies, and then Hamlet's mother marries Claudius and becomes a new king. And so basically, the story is the ghost of Hamlet's father describing the martyr, and you know what happens with his kids and his sons and all of that. So basically, when the consular Polonius learns from the daughter of Ophelia and Hamlet has visited her because Hamlet is in love with Ophelia, Polonius attributes the prince's condition to being lovesick and ends up trapping Hamlet using Ophelia as a bait. Hamlet arranges a play to mimic the martyr, so you know he can actually die, like the father can actually die. And it was, oh my lord, this one I enjoyed it. Amazing. 475. Like, this one was my favorite out of them all. I think this one and Macbeth are my two favorites, if I'm not wrong, but I will get to Macbeth. Before that, we have Troilus and Cressida. So Troilus and Cressida. We have the work set in the Trojan War. Troilus and Cressida recounts for a love affair and the title of the characters. Inside the besiege of the city of Troy, the prince Troilus is lovesick for Cressida. She's also in love with him, and the uncle wants to put them together. But in the Greek camp outside, Cressida's father is not really, okay with it. And in the morning after the lovers' night have an affair, they are together. Cressida is exchanged for a Trojan prisoner and taken in camp. And the great Trojan War, Hector, Troilus' brother, engages in a single combat with the Greek Ajax and fight to end the entire war altogether. Hector and Troilus join the Greek for a feast, and Cressida meanwhile is seduced by Diomedes. There's a lot of love and relationship and stuff. So distraught and Cressida's betrayal, Troilus fights Diomedes and others, but Patroclus' favorite Greek warrior Achilles dies in battle. My Achilles and my Patroclus, my fall in love angels. I love them. My favorite. And Achilles fights and loses to Hector. They have to grieve each other's deaths and things like that. I actually thought I liked it more than a 2. I remember the only parts I was interested in were the parts of Achilles and Patroclus, because my gaze, I love my gaze. We know I love my gaze. But well, if it's a 2, it is what it is. I will put it up to a 3. I will change the rating. I'll put it up to a 3. It was actually not bad. Then we have Othello, the Moor of Venice. And I don't know what it's about this man of Shakespeare and writing stuff based in Italy. Why Italy? Why only Italy? What's going on with you, man? So it is set in Venice, Italy, and Othello is a soldier Lago that announced a hatred to a commander, and he basically is promoted by Cassio to a lieutenant, so he gets a higher rate. Basically in Cyprus, Lago continues the plot against Othello because, he's a Moor and he's not supposed to be a lieutenant because he's not supposed to have money, situations like that. He lures Cassio into a drunken fight for which Cassio loses his new rank, and he argues and begs Desdemona to intervene. Things happen. Lovers come together and things happen, drama. It was alright. It was a 3. It was alright. I don't remember much. I was expecting more because Othello is like one of the big ones. There's an opera of it and everything, so I'm like, well, if it's an opera, that has to be good. And I know many of you are going to say, oh, you're just going to rate these by how you read them. You have to watch the plays to see if you like them. I don't have to watch the plays. Like, I know he wrote them, and I know, plays are supposed to be performed. But if he wrote them in a piece of paper, I can read them without watching the plays. Next one, Measure for Measure. Human nature and the law often collide in Measure for Measure. As the play begins, the Duke of Vienna announces he is going away and puts his deputy Angelo in charge of the state. Angelo immediately enforces a law prohibiting sex outside of marriage, sentencing Claudio to death for sleeping with Juliet, Claudio's now pregnant fiancée. Claudio's sister Isabella is a novice nun, appeals to Angelo and serves for her brother. But supposedly, pure Angelo demands that Isabella sleep with him to save Claudio, and Claudio dismayed. Isabella refuses. The Duke, who has remained in Vienna, disguised as a friar, suggested that Angelo's jilted fiancée Mariana could take Isabella's place. Although the trick succeeds, Angelo orders Claudio beheaded anyway. The Duke saves Claudio, but he tells Isabella that Claudio is dead. The Duke resumes his identity, sentences Angelo to wed Mariana and then to put to death. But Mariana and Isabella plead to Angelo's life, revealing that Claudio is alive, and the Duke pardons Angelo and proposes to Isabella. So that is what the plot is, and I rated it 4 stars. It was quite nice. I really enjoyed this one. It was quite nice. I really enjoyed it. And after that, I read Macbeth, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Oh my lord, Macbeth. I love Macbeth so much. It's so great. I really want to see Macbeth live. Like, I would love to see Macbeth on the theater. I would die to see Macbeth on theater. It's so, and Hamlet, to be honest. So to be fair, any of them, even the ones I didn't really like, I have to see Macbeth in like live. Oh my god, on theaters. I would love to do that. But basically, Macbeth is set in Scotland and mixes witchcraft, prophecy, and murder. Three weird sisters appear to Macbeth and his comrade Banquo after a battle of prophecy, and Macbeth will be the king, and that the descendants of Banquo will also reign. When Macbeth arrives in the castle, he and Lady Macbeth plot to assassinate the King Duncan, soon to be the guest, so that Macbeth can become the king. So basically, he just wants the throne. And after Macbeth murders Duncan, the king's two sons flee and Macbeth is crowned. Fearing that Banquo's descendants will, according to the Weird Sisters' predictions, take over the kingdom, Macbeth has Banquo killed. At the royal banquet that evening, Macbeth sees Banquo's ghost appear covered in blood, and Macbeth attempts to console the Weird Sisters again. They comfort him with ambiguous promises. Another nobleman, Macduff, rides to England to join Duncan's older son, Malcolm. Macbeth has Malcolm's wife and children murdered, as Lady Macbeth goes mad and commits suicide. Macbeth confronts Malcolm's army, trusting the Weird Sisters' confronting promises. He learns that the promises are tricks, but continues to fight. And it was so good. I loved it so much. I love it. Love it. Next one. King Lear. King Lear dramatizes the story of an aged king of ancient Britain whose plans to divide the kingdom among the three daughters ends tragically. When he tests each of them, asking how much she loves him, like they love him, the older daughters flatter him, but while the youngest does not, and King Lear disowns her and banishes her. She marries the King of France, the youngest one, and the older ones turn to him, leaving him madly and furious in storm. So basically, the youngest one ends up being the good one. And this one was quite nice. The movie with Florence Pugh. I might be biased because I love Florence Pugh, but the movie was great. The play was a 3 stars. It was alright. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was alright. Next one, Timon of Athens. Is basically a story about Timon, who discovers the limits of wealth and friendship. He spends freely on other host banquets for many guests. Despite his servants' warnings, he spends so excessively that he runs out of money. And then the philosopher Epontimus condemns his flatterers as insincere. That is kind of like a rough idea of what the book is about. I really enjoyed it. It was a 3.5. It was nice. It was enjoyable. I really like when it's set in Greece. I don't know why I like the place when they're set in Greece more than when they're set in Italy, but it was quite nice. I enjoyed it. And after that, I read Pericles of Prince of Tyre. This one I didn't like as much. I think it's because they go one after the other. About the nautical tale of Wandering Jim, narrated by John Gower, a poet from the English past. Basically, John Gower, explains that Pericles, the Prince of Tyre, hopes to win the hand of the Princess of Antico. Pericles learns that she and the king are lovers. It's, situation. He brings grain to Tarsus during the famine, but loses the ships and men in a storm. In Pentapolis, Pericles wins a tournament and marries the king's daughter Thasia. With Thasia's pregnant, she and Pericles sail for Tyre, because, she's about to be a mother and give birth. And the coffin drifts ashore at Ephesus, where she is revived and becomes the priestess of Diana. Pericles leaves the baby Mariana with the king and the queen of Tarsus. 14 years later, she is kidnapped by pirates and sold to brothel, but her eloquence protects her. Told that she has died, grief-stricken Pericles discovers her. He thought she was dead. And there's a lot of things going on here, as you can tell. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Again, I really like when the novels are set in Greece, but again, I like the other one more. It's a 3-star. Next one, Antony and Cleopatra. This one was amazing. I love this one. It was a 4-star, and this one is about romance between two powerful lovers, Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt, and Mark Antony, who rules the Roman Empire. So it's kind of like, I imagined it as a fan fiction, because why would you connect these two? But it was quite nice. So basically, although he is needed in Rome, Antony lingers to Egypt to be with Cleopatra, and he finally when he returns to Rome, another military leader, and tries to gain control of the empire. Antony marries the sister of Caesar, Octavia, but he is in love with Cleopatra. And when he turns back to Cleopatra, she's like, why did you leave me? Why did you leave me? How dare you leave me, the Queen of Egypt? Kind of situation. It was so good. It was a 4-star. Enjoyed it so much. Oh my lord, this one. It was so nice. Really liked it. Next one, Coriolanus. This one begins with two Roman partitions, Medius and Martinius, calm a revolt by a city's farmers Perbians. When Volscians invaders attack Roman territories, Marcius helped the Roman forces and almost single-handedly conquers the Volscian city of Coriolis, winning the name Coriolanus. The Volscian leader Odysseus, all these names are so weird, I am so sorry, swears revenge. Victorious in battle, Coriolanus expects to be made a consul, but by a costume he must ask for votes from the plebeians. He does this so contemptuously that he is rejected as a consul. The tribunes later charge Coriolanus with treason and banish him from Rome. He seeks his former enemy Odysseus. Coriolanus and Odysseus join forces to conquer Rome. On the brink of Syrtis, Coriolanus is persuaded by the mother, Volumnia, and to spare the city, although he knows he might cost him his life. I was expecting more. This one, I was expecting more. I was quite disappointed. It was a 2-star. Then we have Cymbeline. I love it. Like, I read it first year of uni, and since I read it, I've remembered, like, I love this book so much. It was a 4-star. I loved it. And this one takes place in ancient Britain and is filled with hidden identities, extraordinary schemes, and violent acts. Basically, there's two sons. King Cymbeline has two sons that are abducted, and they leave Cymbeline with the daughter Imogen. Cymbeline's stepson Cloten is now the heir, and Cymbeline expects Imogen to marry the brother. But she is secretly in love with Posthumus Leonatus. Banished from court, Posthumus makes a foolish bet on Imogen's chastity, which leads to false evidence that she has betrayed him. He plots to have her killed and starts sending her on a journey. Meanwhile, still angry about Imogen's marriage, Cloten plans to find and rape her. A lot of rapes in these novels as well. It was a common thing, apparently. Cymbeline, meanwhile, refuses to pay a tribute to the Romans who invade Britain after the Romans have repelled the battle. Cymbeline agrees to the tribute, and his sons are restored, while Imogen and Posthumus are reconciled. Oh my lord, 4 stars. Since I read it from the first year of uni, it was insane. I was in love with it. One of my favorite plays of this man. It is insane. Next one, Winter's Tale. This one was a 2-star. I was expecting more. I don't know why, but I was expecting much more. The tale of Winter's Tale unfolds 16 years apart. In the first part of the play, Leonide, king of Sicilia, plays a host, and his friend Polynices, king of Bohemia. Suddenly, Leonides becomes unreasonably jealous of Polynices and Leonidas' pregnant wife Hermione. Leonidas calls for Polixenes to be killed, but he escapes. And that's everything I'm going to tell you, because I didn't really like it. I was expecting much more by the title. Didn't like it. 2 stars. Not for me. The next one is actually the last dramatical play that he wrote. This is the last dramatical play. After this one, we're starting with the lyrical works. And this is The Tempest. Let me start by saying that I tried to read The Tempest 3 times while I was at university. I had to read it for a module, and I had to take that module twice. So I tried to read it. I could not for the life of me finish it. I know what it's about because I had to study it, but I did try to read it 3 times. It was impossible. So I thought, oh wait, let me see if I read it in Spanish. I like it more, or at least I can finish it. I finished it, which is good, but I didn't like it. It was a 2-star. It wasn't for me.
I have had to change from my camera to my phone. I don't know if the quality changes. I have no idea, because I've never filmed with that camera, like an actual good clip with good lighting. So I hope you can hear me well. I know the audio is different because I have the mic of the camera, but I can't use it with my phone. The Tempest is a story of shipwreck and magic. The Tempest begins on a ship caught by a violent storm with Alonso, who is the king of Naples, on board. On a nearby island, the exiled Duke of Milan, Prospero, tells his daughter Miranda that he has caused a storm with his magical powers. Prospero had been banished 12 years earlier when Prospero's brother Antonio conspired with Alonso to become the Duke instead. Prospero and Miranda are served by a spirit named Ariel and Caliban, son of the island's previous inhabitant, to which Sarok. And this one I didn't like. It was a 2 stars. I think I said it, but at this point I have no idea what the video got or not. It was just not for me. I hope you can hear me because there's a lot of loud outside and I don't have my mic on. But it is what it is. So now we are getting to the lyrical works. These are my absolute personal favorites. Not all of them I'm in love with, but I love all of them at the same time. Venus and Adonis. I did really like it. It was a very nice story. It was a 4 stars. Really liked it. It was a nice one. This one I really liked it. Then The Rape of Lucrece. It was alright, but compared with the rest of the lyrical plays, not good. 375. It was alright, but I was expecting a bit more. Lover's Complaint. Alright, expecting more. Again, the title, I was like, oh my god, with this title it's gonna be so amazing. It was a 3 stars. It was alright, plain okay. Next one, The Passionate Pilgrim. This one was alright, not great, 3.5, but it was alright. And then we get to Sonnets of Sundry Notes of Music. Not good. Very short, and it was just not good. 2.5, not fun of it. But then we have the opposite, which is the Phoenix and the Turtle. And this one was the complete opposite. It was still very, very short, but it was so good. Like this, something doesn't have to be long. Like a book doesn't have to be long to be good. This one is like, I think 4 pages long, and it is amazing. 4 stars, obsessed with it. Love the Phoenix and the Turtle, obsessed with it. And then we have the sonnets. And I'm just gonna rate all the sonnets together because there are some that I loved, some that I didn't like as much. So all the 154 sonnets, I'm gonna compile into a 4-star. Generally, I really enjoyed them. They were quite nice, and I personally think this man should have stayed with the lyrical. Like I think this man should have stayed with writing poems and lyrical works because the dramatic ones, not a fan of. I'm not a fan of this man. All his works go to the bin, to the trash. I'm not a fan. But the sonnets, amazing. The lyrical works, amazing. Obviously, not all of like the sonnets. The music one, not a fan of, but in general terms, I really, really, really enjoyed them. So, yeah, those are all the books that this man wrote when he was alive. It is insane that I read them all. It took me an entire year, but I did, and I'm so happy and proud of it. Yeah, that is it. I hope the camera that I used had good quality. I hope the audio was good quality, and I hope everything that I said was, it's on the video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you're gonna find when I post a brand new video, when I post the next Shakespeare video, when I post any of my other book related videos. I have so many things coming up. I'm super excited. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching this. I'll see you on the next video, and I really hope there's not much difference between this clip and the ones from my camera. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next video.